We're just working on some stuff. This is some stuff we'll just work on in class next week when it's not freaking freezing. This is gonna be unarmed versus knife or dagger, and it does change. And I'll talk about that at some point, but for now we'll just, and I won't be using a ton of footwork just so we can stay in frame because I don't have a cameraman. So, but obviously you will want to move out of the way as much as possible, but just so I don't screw up the camera and framing and stuff like that. We'll go here. And then next week we'll actually do it in sparring and have a bunch of different people on it. I know I have a new student that wants to do dagger stuff, so we'll see if any of these techniques work in practice. We talk a lot about the high percentage, low percentage techniques, because even a high percentage technique, you know, there's still a decent chance that, right, I block here, great, but if that's bladed, yeah, she just extracts and then I got my arm cut to pieces. Well, it's better than if I didn't block it at all and I got stabbed in the chest, so that's not I don't like the, oh, knife defense is so dumb, just don't try and, just run away and, immediately just start getting stabbed in the back and, or potentially you've got someone you love with you that is not, and you're just like, bye, and you run away and let your friend or loved one or children get stabbed. It's a really uneducated thing to say, just run away. Or they're like me and they have exercise-induced asthma, and I am a lot better at fighting somebody than I am at running. I can run pretty quick, I can't run for very long, so I think that's a stupid answer, even if you're not backed into a corner. Sometimes fighting the knife is the correct decision. You're gonna get cut up, as I mentioned, but you can get cut up in places where it's less bad to get cut up. So there's two basic lines of defense to a knife attack, and that is come in, parry and get off the line, and then come back in with strikes, elbows, knees, what have you. And then there is the trap, and then wrap up and control the hand, keep controlling the hand, and then try to take them down. I mean, here you've got, I don't remember what that one doesn't have a name in the European traditions. Judo guys tell me what this throw is named. You can even just go forward, break the leg. Fiore will show you turn, break the elbow over your shoulder, then throw them. We obviously can't practice that one in sparring, but it's something to think about. That one's good on one hand because great. If it works, you have control of the arm, you have control of the knife, and the fight is probably in your favor. It's over and done with. You can break their arm, choke them out, whatever, extract the knife from them, wait for the police or historically guards to show up. Fantastic. The problem with it is if the guy did not overcommit to something, what usually happens if you go for this and you're trying to do this, now she's super committed to this. Well, yeah, that can slip through too, but I'm saying not even this. If I super commit to this and she just is ready to loop around to another angle, yeah, great, I've gotten stabbed. But even simpler, if she just pulls back and and then goes around, great. So you'll often see things like where you'll come at multiple angles just so that you can hopefully trap that and hopefully reduce the angle. Now, she just passed the knife off to a different hand. This does not happen in actual fights. This literally only happens in movies and when you are doing things slowly and they actually have time to do it. This is something that a lot of people will go, whoa, wouldn't you just pass the knife off? So let's not move around here. I'll try to maintain control of this and you try to pass off the knife.
All right.
Yeah, so, and that time of me literally just holding that, doing nothing, it took her what? Do you think she's going to have that time in an actual fight where I am just going, no, probably not. She's probably, so if the issue with this is not that she's going to pass it off to another hand, almost never does that happen. We don't see that in the treatises. We don't see it in modern knife fight data. It's just not a thing that happens, really. What will we see happen is I go for this and it comes around from a different angle than I was expecting, uh-oh. Or I go for this and great, I stop her first attack, whatever it happens to be, and then yeah, she just goes again, right? So that's the issue with this commitment. So that's where the parry comes in, because she comes in, we parry, we're ready for it again, ready for it again, ready for it again. The problem is, it doesn't progress the fight for me at all. Great, it's the less committal one, but I have to keep doing it over and over again. And if I can keep doing this for long enough, for 2 minutes, however long, there I just got stabbed in the hand. There's another issue. There I just got cut. That one slipped through. That one stabbed me. So I don't love parrying either. I probably like a combination of these two techniques where I can parry and then close the distance. So something that Meyer will say is wherever his offhand goes, his dagger hand will follow. I use the same principle with double offhand, where I feed that through, I parry, and now I have strikes to the eyes, strikes to the throat, kicks. We can punch, of course. We can punch to the gut, however we want. Now, if the hilt is long enough, yes, we can try to extract the knife out that way. Great. If a lot of times though, especially in modern times, the knife is not nearly as long as it is as we're talking about here. So that becomes a lot easier said than done. Something you can do is hook here and again grab this tight to your body. This also, let's say that like 5% chance that they, let's say that 5% chance that they do try to, they are cognizant enough to try to pass the knife off to their other hand. Yeah, it's just not going to happen. And that is just a very simple tight underhook and then wrist control. And you can't see, I'm grabbing at the wrist joint, not the forearm, because try to free this grip from the joint and keep my head close to what I'm doing here so I can make sure everything looks good. Yeah, and she can do it eventually, but it's worked for her, right? Now try to free it. I'll grab on the forearm up tight. Oh my God, that's so much more difficult to keep a grip of. And it's just because, you're trying to grab around something this big rather than something this big.
Oh my God, you're gonna get offended.
Yeah, I know. Now you'll note that I'm stepping to the outside, right? Not the inside, because, well, if you go here, try to parry here, you can do that, but you're going against the direction that the force is going, and probably all that you'll end up is turn this stab into this stab, which is
better.
That's better. It turns you from a potentially immediately dead to
you got like 15, 20
minutes. You got
minutes.
like 15, 20 minutes to get to the hospital. You'll probably be fine. That's the other thing is like stabbing victims have like a 83% survival rate, and that's including the guys that are like sewing machine, stab, 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 stab. Right?
Welcome to London.
Yeah, that's most of that 17% is the people that are stabbed like 20 plus times. So, you could eat a couple of them and be fine. I've been stabbed before. I don't think it was with a very big knife. I never saw the guy. I've had friends that were stabbed in the stomach in middle school, so, quite small, and they live with no complications. So, it's not the end of the world. We're more durable than a lot of people say we are. So I'll use both hands here to capture some of that idea of I might not, right? There's one of the historical techniques that suggests that you go one hand on the knife that's coming to attack, and then one hand goes straight for the throat or the eyes. I don't like this because what if I guess wrong, and then this just changes the angle just a little bit, yeah, and it slips through, and I get stabbed. Well, great, this is not an equal trade, right? This is bad. But if I get both hands on this, right, and I miss just a little bit, well, okay, maybe I've been stabbed in the arm just a little bit there, and that was a scrape. I would call that inconsequential. Probably not even going to notice that. When I got stabbed just walking around, no adrenaline, I didn't even notice it for like a few seconds probably. It wasn't very painful at all. Depends on how sharp the knife is too, but yeah. My other hand is usually going to be focused on this sort of stuff. Anything I can do to get them to focus on defending themselves and forget about the knife existing, right? Because if I'm just hyper focused here on trying to wrestle this knife away, they're going to be hyper focused on trying to get the knife back, right? And then we get into this stupid fight here. And that can be really dumb. But if I can trap the knife here, and then I can start getting them, okay, now they're focused on defending themselves, I don't even need to try a super risky disarm technique and, risk losing it because they're focusing on defending that technique. I like incorporating 1 or 2 strikes. What I don't like doing is, she's got the knife, everything's good. I'm not going to box out here. There was a really tragic case of a boxer getting into a fight with a guy with a knife in public in New York. And he sits out here, and he's doing some solid boxing. He's trying to box the guy. The problem is, every time I land a jab, we end up like this. So I really do need to have some control on this first, and then start attacking. Now, if the attack comes in, boom, I parry, I land a punch here. Okay, great. Sure, solid. Maybe throw some leg kicks, sure. Oblique kicks, try to kick the knee out. That's something they mentioned historically, right? If you can break their knee, then run away, that could be a solid option, because then probably your kids or your wife or whoever is with you could run away from a guy with a broken leg. That might be a solid option. Jack Dempsey shows some leg lock stuff in his World War II Combatives book. That can be an option. If you can get their attention up here and then go all the way to the ground. You obviously can't see that. Hopefully they miss that knife attack. You get them on the ground, kick them in the head, stomp them in the head, run away, whatever. Hopefully you get out of that with minimal damage, right? Because the thing about a knife fight is we're trying to minimize damage, not get 0 damage. That's pretty much almost impossible.
She's worried.
I know, we're freaking out our dogs. Not too many more here, but one you often see from Fiore, which is a risky one, but it's great. If you get it, you basically got it. So that is from an overhead stab, and they commit to it, and people will say, but nobody ever does that. It's not the most common thing to see anymore, but it does happen, especially if somebody is drawing a knife from a belt like this to stab you. That's just the natural movement. Or a screwdriver or anything,
I think you'd see more likely with a screwdriver.
Yeah, a screwdriver or any other sort of object like that. So we come here, double blocking, right? Our wrist, this is important. We're not just going to block straight away, because if we block straight away, she's not compromised at all, right? She can just go around and then defeat our block here, right? And you might be saying, well, you didn't grab her wrist. Okay, I'll try that with a grab of the wrist here. Yeah, she can still, and she's not putting any weight behind it. Now my arm's getting cut to pieces, yeah. Right, so that's not great to just sit there and hold that. So again, this comes in, boom. I'm gonna come here and I'm twisting out, see? So instead of just blocking straight up, I'm twisting out to the side. This is gonna come in. I'm gonna turn my back to her. I'm not worried about being choked at all because I know what one of her hands is doing. Then I'm gonna come straight down and break at the elbow there.
Don't.
We can also turn around back this way, come here, back to this side, turn this way so I can show the camera what's going on here. Turn to this side. She's got the knife here. I know where the knife is. Boss Rutan will show this technique, and he'll show you use this to stab them with their own knife, which is a little ridiculous. I would personally just break the arm there. But yeah, whatever. I mean, once you've got this position, start stabbing them with their knife, break their arm, headbutts, whatever. Everything goes. And as soon as she tries to stab me in the leg or the groin here, I feel that. And so I can elevate here. I can pull here this way and elevate here this way. Yes. Right. And the important thing is, right, when we do it in sparring, it's going to be, there's 2 ideas here, right? The knife fighter's not worried about actually doing damage to stab you, so they can just sort of flick and do all this and cut you up and piece you up a lot. I am worried about actually breaking your arm, so I'm not going to snap your arm. So I think a lot of knife defense can look a lot less effective than it actually is, just because, well, she can piece me up with this blunt piece of rubber all day long all she wants, and it looks like, oh my god, I'm dead. Meanwhile, I have to go boom, boom, boom. I can't go, right? I also can't be throwing
I
elbows.
would love you a lot less.
So it's tricky, right? But hopefully that was interesting to you guys. Regardless of what you're watching my channel for, we're gonna stop freaking our dog out and call that a day. Thanks for watching.